I'm her biggest fan, and she's probably one of my biggest fans. If we have fans, we don't have fans. Supporter is the name, we don't have fans. All right, and that's my beautiful wife, Tanika. Miss Single Ready waving herself. Over here. All right, so if you have some relationship questions, she's actually over there. She'll be able to answer. All right, so some of you know me, some of you don't. Some of you are like, okay, who's this guy that's sweating a lot, that's up here in front of the piano and jumping up and down? I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. As you see, I'm actually one of 7 children. One of 7 children, and my sister, she was actually taking lessons. All right, and then she wanted to learn. She was taking lessons, and I was around the corner. She was trying to get a particular song. She was trying to get a song that should have sounded like this. Here we go. Now, she was playing it like I don't know what she was trying to do, right? But anyways, I was a little 3-year-old guy around the corner listening to her, and I actually started to play it. So they said, okay, wait, he has this, he figured out this song. So they told the teacher that, okay, this little young guy actually started playing his sister's song. But then she said I was too young to read the music at the time, so that I should wait until I start school. So I understand, because I do teach as well, and sometimes when you see a little 3-year-old, you think they just want to bang on the piano. So that was the case, but at the time, I took it personally. I said, okay, well, if you're not going to teach me, you know, I didn't get too discouraged too much, but it kind of just fueled. I have a little bit of you know, move that? Oh, you need my marker. Perfect. Thank you. All right, I have a little competitive nature. So what it did for me, it just made me make a commitment. I made a commitment that I would not only learn how to play, like a lot of people do that have born with certain gifts, but I'm going to learn and develop a method that not only myself, but everybody else can learn and do basically the same thing. So basically, I went on to play what I heard at school. You know, my first public store performance was at, you know, our church talent night. You know, I know the other night I was here when they actually did this talent and different things like that. I was playing my first song. It was actually Silent Night. I felt so excited. You know, I went, a little 4-year-old. You know, I was like, oh, so that's a short version. But that's something what we did. But so what happened after that time was a lot of the children sent their children. A lot of the children sent their children. No, a lot of the children didn't have children. Children shouldn't have children. Okay. A lot of parents send their children to music school so that they can say, okay, he's taking lessons and so forth. And a few years later, what happened a few years later in my particular church was 99% of the children that were taking the lessons actually either lost interest or they couldn't play by ear or had no lasting results. So at age 7, I became a pianist at my church. And then after that, that's because I understood the language. And I couldn't understand why everybody else couldn't basically do the same thing. I would say, basically, it's so simple, don't you see it? Don't you get it? You know, but that method didn't work. It didn't work at all. You know, I would say, man, it's so simple. Don't you get it? They didn't get it. But then I was like, wait a minute. You don't get it? But there must be a reason. And that's because they weren't taught how to understand it. Music is a language. Just like every other language, if you don't understand the language, you won't understand it. So from that day on, I was on a mission to basically teach the world how to play by ear. And I forgot to say that I did say I'm one of 7, but I didn't say that I also, I just put it this way, I had to be here on this earth. My mother was, I have another brother that's a year older than myself. He's a year older, but my mother was 5 months old when my mother got pregnant with me. Okay, so that's pretty young for those of you that have children. And 8 months into her process, I'm almost coming, right at, I think it was Oakdale and Finch, there was a major car accident. Major car accident at the time. I was 8 months old. No, 8 months old, I was actually in her. She was actually gonna be. She just said that, okay, they were at 8 months, major car accident, somebody ran the light, totaled the car. She just said, I just wanna make sure that my little baby is fine. You know, and so forth, and thank God I'm here, or obviously I wouldn't be here right now if everything didn't work out. Now I'm sending the bass so that you guys can get a little thing. So basically, there was great news for myself. God gave me wisdom concerning music and how to understand it. So not only do I play by ear, but I started to develop an understanding on why actually it works. And so basically I was excited, and I always believed that I had, you know, like tomorrow to actually tell the world how to do it. you know, but then what happened was, one of these nights, particularly August 22nd, 1998, on my way home, and kind of dozed off at the wheel. And that was the car that I was in. So, I mean, it's a long story how that particular happened, but long story short, that it's a miracle that I walked out of there with not even a scratch on my hand, out of that car, and God allowed someone to be there at the same time to help me out of the car before more cars crashed into it. But that was just God's divine protection. But what happened after that accident for me was a wake-up call. And that wake-up call was, what has God placed inside of me? So the first thing I did after I got home from the ambulance, I went to the piano, and I just started to see if I could still do major scales. That's it. I said, I just wanted to make sure that my hands worked. And once they worked, then I started to just write. I said, okay, I'm going to start documenting what I've discovered, documenting the language that I see, and then that's how basically what the program that I teach now, which is called the NEQ Music System, which is something that teaches people how to master the art of playing piano by ear. And why is that important? And I just want to say, classical music or traditional methods, there's nothing wrong with it per se. So those that teach it, it's a great method. I just think it's a lot harder than playing by ear, right? Seeing a whole bunch of stuff that's on there, you know. But when you actually play by ear, you can also understand more of what you're actually playing and so forth. So I kind of focus on that end, and these are just some of the methods, as I said, you know, some of the training that is out there. Now, why I say all this is because it's going to set up what I'm talking about today, which is where we get into some of the revelation. So I am a huge advocate, music advocate of understanding. Proverbs 4:7 says, wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. With all you're getting, get understanding. Because what I found is once people understand music, then you'll be able to express yourself in a way that you would never see possible, right? And now, so that was before I actually got some of the revelation that I had. I went to Zimbabwe, and in Zimbabwe, I was there to play in the jazz festival, and I was also there to actually teach some music seminar on how to play by ear, how to understand music. And when I was there, I said to God, God, I understand music. I understand how it works, and I believe I have an answer so that people could actually understand music. But I want more of you in it. I said, I want more of you in it. Before we release all of it, I want more of you in it. And I sat there in my hotel room, and that's what I prayed. And then from that day, as we read earlier, from that day, revelation just started to be downloaded to me either every day or every other day. And it's just things that are just like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. That makes sense. And which is some of the things I'm going to share with you. And I thought it was easy to learn from the method I had before. But now, with this revelation, is like, the more you know about God and His Word, you're going to be a better player. How is that? Not to be, I mean, you can be gifted, which a lot of us have been born with certain gifts, and I truly believe that actually everybody was born with a gift, but certain people have different degrees of it. But what if it was something that, if you strengthen yourself in the Word of God, that actually equipped you even more? This sounds like the Word more, right? Fill yourself up with the Word and, watch what comes out, watch out world, right? So I was excited because of that, because God is all about what I'm going to be teaching you or sharing with you today. And like I said, music is power, and music has power. Growing up, I didn't know how much power music had, because I wasn't really taught on the gift, and I wasn't really taught on what music can do. So I would be in church, and fresh off of hearing something off of the radio, and be in church, and I remember, I think it was a prayer meeting, and I'm playing, I was playing a song like this. I was playing, now, those of you that seen the movie Soul Food, you probably heard that song before, right? And one of the church mothers, she was like, but I got convicted. Now, the title of us, well, in a movie called Soul Food, right? But what I'm saying is, and I would do certain things now. Now, I truly believe that music is God is the creator, which I'm going to get to. God's the creator of everything, right? And music was designed to glorify God. That's all it was for. It wasn't supposed to be used for something else. Everything was designed, obviously, by God and so forth. But I didn't know the power that it had. But obviously, we can see, because if you look in the world, you see little, 17-year-olds, not that you're little, when I was 17, I thought I was big, right? But 17-year-olds, and they're endorsing cars or stuff like that to say buy it. And people are following a 17-year-old. Why? Because of the gifting. Because of music. That's how much influence music has. It's power. It's a lot of power. But it's power in the wrong hands. But it's supposed to be used for God, and which we're going to share with you today. Okay? So, basically, let's get to some revelation. Revelation is the act or process of disclosing something previously secret or obscure. Okay? And then also another definition they have is related to theology, which is it's a manifestation of divine will or truth. So, all right? Basically, I'm going to cover a lot of the things why you see, and that's one thing I noticed, that I meet a lot of people even through my teaching, and they would say, I used to take piano lessons years ago. I said, how far did you go? Well, I did it up to grade 5, grade 6, grade 4, did it for a couple of years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, but it's been this long, and I forget everything. I would say, you forget? Now, I can understand being rusty, but how can you forget? You forget if you never understood it in the first place. If I asked you what was 2 plus 2, what would you tell me? 4. Are you telling me that because you memorized it and you didn't forget 2 plus 2 is 4? Or do you understand why 2 plus 2 equals what it equals? You see what I'm saying? If you take two fingers, you put them together. That's the same thing with music. You just have to understand it, which we're going to cover today. So I'm going to cover a lot of those things. I'm going to cover time I'm willing with some of the incorrect theories that are actually taught. And I did something funny, just posted some videos of saying, this is an incorrect theory, and it was so interesting, some of the feedback, which I'll share with you, some of the debates that I was getting from certain ones that teach music in universities. And I remember this most recently was a German composer, and they're kind of debating with me about whether what I believe is correct. So they didn't think I really understand music, because I do understand music. And what would happen is I would share certain things. I didn't even share the revelation stuff. I just share certain things based on their questions, which I'm going to show you today. And after probably about 2 dialogues, I wouldn't hear from them again. Now, I mean, he's a good person, but what I'm saying is, you're going to see some of the things. You're going to see with what I'm talking about today. How can we make anyways, let's get to it. I'm just going to get to it. I just want to get to it. You guys are going to see and understand why I feel this way and what the roots were. Now, originally, I just thought certain things were also incorrect theories. Now I see there's a deeper root. At the beginning, I was saying, man, that's incorrect. Now I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh, look who is behind it, which is what I'm going to share with you today.
Origin of Music has eluded musicologists, professors, and scientists for centuries. They've succeeded to come up with theories, but not a comprehensive explanation. In May 2012, Robert Chambers was in Zimbabwe to perform at the Jazz Festival with jazz singer Prudence. He was also to conduct music workshops on playing the piano by ear. While preparing, he prayed a prayer that would forever change his life and the history of music. He prayed, "God, I want more of you in the method you gave me." For the next 4 months, he was downloaded with revelation that reveals undeniable evidence that God created music. The proof? Musical concepts like scales, chords fingering, progressions, and more can all be found in the Holy Bible. Coincidence? You be the judge. To get more info on Robert's paradigm-shattering book, Revelations, The Origin of Music, visit www.theoriginofmusic.com.